It's not.
I thought she was going to try to join.
My report is that she will not be attending the meeting.
Well, she told me that about 2:15.
Okay, all right. Well, she has not told me that, but if she joins, then we will make sure that she becomes be a part of the meeting.
I think Reverend Mack, I think she was just going to call in because she's driving to Myrtle Beach, but maybe.
What about Ms. Green?
So I have made the roll call. Checking all those as invitation purpose. However, I need to make a motion that we have this emergency call meeting today. Can I get someone to second that?
Second.
Second by Ms. Waters. I do need to do it.
Reverend Mack, you're breaking up. Can you try?
Try keeping
I couldn't
still.
hear what you were saying. I couldn't hear what you were saying.
Okay, I made a motion that we have this emergency call meeting today. I just want to document it, and Ms. Waters seconded it, and I was going to do a roll call.
So you're breaking up very badly. Hard to understand you.
So I make a motion. I made the motion. Ms. Waters seconded. Did everyone hear that?
Yes.
Motion to go into executive session?
No, I made a motion for this emergency meeting today.
Oh, thank you.
Right, and Ms. Waters seconded. So I need to do a roll call first before we go into it. Is that? Are we good? All right, Ms. Waters,
Here.
you vote yes?
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. You said roll call. Yes. I'm fine with executive session.
All right, for the meeting. We're voting on emergency meeting first.
Oh, okay. Yes. For the emergency meeting.
Okay, all right, Ms. Darby,
No.
Ms. Hederick,
Yes.
Ms. Coates,
Yes.
Ms. Coakley,
Yes.
Dr. French,
No.
Ms. Green. Ms. Green,
What was the question? I'm sorry, I'm just getting on.
the motion was made that we have this emergency.
Bring me
meeting.
ice cream. Bye, y'all.
Yes.
Okay, and I vote yes, that motion carries. Now, we'll entertain a motion to go into executive session.
I move, did we go into executive session?
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, second, moved by Ms. Coates, second by Ms. Waters, that we go into executive session. Can we break out into executive session at this time, please?
Do we vote on this?
Reverend Mack, this is Maggie. We're in the boardroom with Julie.
Okay,
Please step back a motion so she can capture what the vote was and what was voted on.
so the motion was made by myself and second by Ms. Waters for the emergency meeting. Ms. Waters voted yes, Ms. Darby, no, Ms. Hederick, yes, Ms. Coakley, yes, Ms. Coates, yes, Dr. French, no, Ms. Green, yes, and I voted yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Now, we also made a motion to go into executive session as well.
Reverend Mack, did you adopt the agenda as well?
That will be the first order of business, wouldn't it? Thank you so kindly. All right.
Problem.
We'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as outlined. Can you? Yeah.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Darby, second by Ms. Coates. Ms. Waters, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Darby,
Yes.
Ms. Hederick,
Yes.
Ms. Coates,
Yes.
Ms. Coakley,
What are we voting on, to go in executive session?
Agenda.
Voting to
Yes.
adopt the agenda.
Thank you. Yes.
Dr. French.
No,
Okay. Ms. Green. Ms. Green.
Yes, I'm sorry, I was on mute.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. That motion carries. Now we entertain a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
All right.
may I ask a question?
All right. As soon as we get a second on that
Second,
executive session. All right. Ms. Coates moved it. Ms. Darby seconded. Dr. French, your question?
Why do we need to go into executive session? We discussed this last night, and there's nothing that we need to discuss that is confidential or legal.
So as we go into go ahead, Mr. Mazik.
I thought we were going into executive session so you can receive legal advice on how to proceed on a motion that was carried on last evening. So I was going to discuss the process of doing that. So that was the executive session piece. Receipt of legal advice always
Who's
is
speaking
executive
now,
session.
please? Who's speaking?
This is Dwayne.
Okay, who else is on this meeting?
I'm sorry, what'd you say, Dr. French?
Who else is in attendance in this meeting? I didn't know that Mr. Mazik was here because nobody told me that he was here. Who is here?
So all of the board members are present, Dr. French, along with Mr. Kennedy, Ms. Belcher, Mr. Brigman, our legal counsel, Ms. Reese, Mr. Mazik, Ms. Haynes, Mr. Larson, Ms. Dangerfield, and Mr. Barowie.
And
And-
so you said
And
all
Dr.
board
Taylor,
members.
hang on, Dr. Taylor and Ms. Nichols.
You said all board members, so is Dr. Frazier in now?
No.
Dr. Frazier has not joined us. All right, Mr. Mazik, are you done?
Yes, sir.
All right, now, we will now move into executive session. May I give you break us out? Thank you.
all right, Reverend Mack,
Yes.
Dr. Frazier's calling me, so I might need to get a phone number to call in, so I'm gonna answer. This Kate? Yes, we're in the meeting. Let me ask, okay? Hold on, I'm gonna put you on speakerphone. All right, Reverend Mack and Dwayne, Dr. Frazier is on the side of the road going to Myrtle Beach, pulled over, but she said she can't get in on the phone line. Is there a phone line she can call in on, or can she be on speakerphone on my phone?
I don't like being on speakerphone on your phone because we don't know if it's a clear line. However, that's a board decision.
Yeah, I'm shut in my office, so there's nobody else here. Or what is the number that she can call into?
I have no idea.
She can look at the email that was sent out.
She
Number,
probably can't because she's on her phone.
So given that this is an emergency meeting with very little notice, I think we could show some grace to the people trying to get themselves organized to be here. We have had board members on the phone before. I know it is not ideal, but also, Dwayne, we're in places you can't manage computer screens either.
You're right.
So I don't know that we should exclude anybody that's calling in based on the fact that we don't have a central phone line sitting in the boardroom for them.
yeah, I don't think that's the case, but however, I understand exactly what you're saying.
I'm
Miss
look-
Bishop just put
I'm-
the number in the chat.
Okay.
She won't
can-
be able to see the chat.
Okay, but hold on.
I'm talking
Except-
about Miss Darby communicating.
Guys,
that.
all right, guys, if you can just pause
on
for a
now.
second, all right? But there's only one person guiding this meeting, not all 9 board members. We're all participating, but we're not all guiding it, okay? So I just need you to be patient. So if Dr. Frazier wants to call in, I can provide the number for her to dial in. Is that what she?
Yeah, if she can, so can you just tell me and I'll write it down?
Yeah.
Dr. Frazier, can you hear? Okay, Eric's gonna give us the number.
It's 646
646
876
876
9923.
9923. Okay, so you should be able to just dial that. And then you're on the call, right?
So,
Okay, thank
Need the
you.
meeting
So-
ID as well.
so let me,
Oh, Helen. All right, I think you're gonna need the meeting ID. So where's the meet? Oh, I see it.
886, you got it?
That's the phone number. The meeting ID is 886
398
398
902
902
41
41.
pound.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you. Call me back if you have trouble. So thank you to everybody who made that happen. She could get in, but she needed the meeting ID. So she's about to do that.
So that means that she'll be able to participate in the meeting. This is not the media line's telephone number.
No, I don't think so. I think it's she was able to get it. She was able to get in. She just said she needed the meeting ID. So I don't think it's the media line number. We'll see. Maggie will be able to let her in or see if she's trying to get in, right, Maggie? Great, thank you.
Reverend Mack, would you
Yes.
like for me to wait for Dr. Frazier to join, or go ahead and open the rooms and then add her when she joins?
Well, we'll just pause. We'll give her about 2 minutes. It shouldn't take that long to dial in.
Sounds good.
And Lauren, I'm not sure, but you're on twice.
Dr. Frazier just joined.
All right, Dr. Frazier.
She's almost there.
Okay.
Just frankly, if we all get out of this without a car wreck and alive, it's going to be a little bit of a miracle.
Dr. Frazier, you there? Dr. Frazier, I see you. I see your name. Are you there?
I believe she's muted.
No, it doesn't say she is.
Okay, then we've got another telephone number without an ID that's also here.
All right, who's 709-7798?
That's Lauren, I think.
Okay.
Let me check.
All right, Dr. Frazier,
Yeah.
can you hear me? All right, well, maybe let's break out, Maggie. Let's break out into the executive session and then see if she can connect that way.
Sounds good.
All
Okay,
right,
we're back in the I was telling her we're back in the executive session.
so we're back in
Okay.
the open session.
I mean, open session.
All right, is everyone back? I'm just waiting to see. I see more connection happening here. All board members are present, it looks like. All right, we're now reconvening back.
Helen Frazier is still in the breakout.
Yeah, so
She's on-
she's on the phone with
Okay.
with Ms. Darby, so let the record reflect that she is on the call with us. All right, okay. Is there as we reconvene back into open session, is there a motion?
I have a motion.
Okay, let's hear your motion.
I move to approve that central office certified staff be issued.
Hold it, we have to rescind. We have
Oh,
to make a
sorry,
motion.
shit.
Yeah, we
Sorry.
have to rescind
My bad.
So Reverend Mack, can I make a motion?
all right, Ms. Coates,
Reverend Mack, I move that we rescind the motion that was voted on at yesterday's board meeting. Dwayne, does that meet the requirements of the motion?
if there's a second.
Second.
Who seconded?
Ms. Waters.
Ms. Waters, okay. That motion made by Ms. Coates and second by Ms. Waters to rescind the motion from April 20
Oh, I'm in open session now. You don't have to.
board meeting.
Definitely a C.
Julie, do you have that motion?
Yes, sir. She,
Okay, all right, I'm gonna do a roll call. Ms. Waters, how do you vote?
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Green, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Darby, how do you vote?
Yes.
Dr. Frazier, how do you vote?
I don't understand what we're voting
We're
on.
we're voting on to rescind the action from yesterday so we can vote again today. So if you,
What was the final vote on yesterday?
All right,
Reverend
okay, we're in the middle of a roll call right now. So we've already had that, I already had for questions, so I'm doing a roll call at this very.
so basically you just have to, right now, we're in the middle of voting, so you have to vote whether you want to rescind yesterday's meeting or you want it to stand.
No,
Okay.
no.
Okay.
Ms. Coates, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Coakley?
I'm sorry. No.
Okay, Dr. French?
Excuse me.
Dr. French? Dr. French, how do you vote? Dr. French, are you still on?
I am still on. I'm sorry.
How do
My
you-
phone muted me for some reason. I am voting no.
Okay. Ms. Hederick?
Yes.
All right, and I vote yes. That motion carries 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 yes and 3 no's. And that is to rescind. Okay. Now, that motion from yesterday has been rescinded. Now, is there a new motion for today?
Yes, I'd like to move to approve that central office certified staff be issued certified teaching contracts for the 2022-23 school year with the understanding that in accordance with board policies GCA/GDA and GCB, the superintendent may, upon the reorganization of a division or department, move forward with the issuance of administrative contracts for professional positions included in the board's 2022-23 approved budget.
Okay, is there a second to that motion?
Did you hear Dr. Frazier?
Dr. Frazier, you second that motion? I didn't hear. Dr. Frazier?
Yeah, ask again, Eric.
Dr. Frazier, do you second that motion?
Dr. Frazier, Eric's asking if you second that motion.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Motion moved by Ms. Darby, second by Dr. Frazier. Julie, do you have that motion? Maggie, does Julie have that?
Does.
Motion? Okay, thank you. All right, are there any questions to the motion that was made?
Yeah, my question is, so this is the motion that we voted on yesterday, same motion?
Yes.
Okay.
I've got a question, Reverend Mack.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes, Ms. Darby.
Okay, so let me lower my hand. One of the things that we talked about yesterday that most everybody seemed concerned about was how long would it take for staff to do whatever reorganization? You know, we're talking 10 days, were we talking 2 weeks, 3 weeks? And I just wonder, since in the 24 hours since yesterday, if Mr. Kennedy or Mr. Brigman have, based on the concerns they heard from us, hopefully narrowed down a date. I just wondered if they had.
This is Don. I can respond to that. So I've had conversations today with Ms. Belcher. These are separate individual conversations on this particular topic that you brought up, Ms. Darby. Mr. Brigman and Ms. Williams, Shauna Williams, who's not on the call here this afternoon. And so we are targeting a date to be complete about a potential recommendation to the board on May 9th, by May 9th. So a bit of a challenge. So I don't want to minimize the work associated with that, but at the same time, I recognize, and folks I just mentioned recognize the fact that this is a difficult situation that needs to be remedied as soon as possible. And so we're committed to working through this between now and May 9th.
Okay, that's great. That's better than I thought. Okay.
I have a question too.
Dr. French?
Yes, so I just wanted to make sure I understood this correctly. In the scenarios for the budget that you provided, except for the scenario that involves increasing the millage to 9.1, all the scenarios that get us to a balanced budget involve a 5% reduction in central office expenditures, correct?
Well, not necessarily. So I mentioned to the board yesterday that there was still work being done in Columbia on the budget. So I'm working with finance staff this morning.
Okay, well, I would like to stick with what we know right now, and we don't know what the legislature's doing. So is that true, that if everything stays as we know it right now, that's what we need to do?
Well,
correct?
I would disagree with that, because we would have other options.
So
okay, well, the three scenarios I'm talking about involve increasing the millage 6.3% and reducing expenditures of central office staff. And I guess what I'm getting at is that if we have the budget problems that you are projecting, then we will need to do a reduction in staff, and that this motion to issue teacher contracts to central staff who are certified as teachers is an attempt to make this process more fair, so that any reductions don't only impact central staff who don't have a teaching certification. Is that clear? And is that correct?
So that piece is correct, and it's also correct to say that a reason for this motion, for this request for this motion, is to buy time to allow for the full revenue picture to be understood, so that we can make the appropriate adjustments based on more data than what we have right now.
Okay, thank you. That's all.
Okay, is there any further questions from anyone else before the roll call?
I do have a question, Reverend Mack.
Okay, Ms. Waters.
My question as a follow-up to yesterday is whether anybody, maybe this is a question for Mercedes or or whomever. But whether anybody has given any thought or consideration to what could happen with the contract language if we kept the contracts the same, to make sure that we didn't have difficulty right-sizing the organization later, whether anybody had given any thought or had any discussion around how we could amend the contracts to support future right-sizing.
Bill, I know you've taken another look at these. You have any feedback on that?
I do not have any updates. I mean, the contract does have language about any financial constraints for the district, but like as I said yesterday, my understanding over the years, it's tied to the district not having any funds. I don't know if Mr. Mosique has anything to add to that. I know Mercedes, I can verify when the contracts were reviewed this year before they went to print. I think they were reviewed by Kathy Mahoney or maybe Dwayne. I'm not sure. So Dwayne might be able to speak to that. Is he?
I'm here. The contracts do have budgetary language, but generally the budgetary language is talking about exactly what we're talking about, what the Senate and the House approves. And if the district is not able to pay their employees, then that contract allows us to make changes and modifications due to whatever monies we get in. So Bill is right about that.
And Ms. Coach, you have a question?
After her, I had a follow-up, Reverend Mack.
Okay.
So it was my understanding when I agreed to attend this meeting that this was a rescission and a revote, not a reconsideration of the motion, since it's identical. So I was wondering if I could call the question. Now, of course, Ms. Waters asked for another question before I did that, but am I within our purview to call the question?
You can.
That's a legal question for Dwayne. I'm sorry. I wasn't specific.
Yes.
Well, before Dwayne answers, I want to acknowledge the fact that we're on Zoom. So Ms. Darby did have her hand up, Ms. Coates. So that question is still valid to be asked. And Ms. Coates, Ms. Waters asked for a follow-up. So those two are valid. So I just want to indicate that because we're by Zoom. So I can see that. I mean, you guys probably can see it as well too, but I just want to acknowledge that.
Thank you.
Well,
Dwayne.
I think Cindy is correct. The only reason I would allow the questions is because I know we had one board member that was not at the meeting yesterday. So I would hate for her not to get information or hear what was discussed on yesterday.
Thank you.
All right. And based
So
on
for that reason, I am not calling the question.
Okay. All right. All right, Ms. Darby, then Ms. Waters.
Yeah, I wanted a little bit more clarification from Dwayne on Ms. Waters' question, because it's always been my impression that the teacher contract we would have to be in dire financial straits to be able to say we can't pay any of our staff or barely any of our staff to be able to, to cancel that contract, because it's very difficult when you have a teacher contract and it's enforced to get rid of that, to right size, or even if there's performance issues.
Yeah, and you're right, Kate, but this is the difference between a teacher contract and an administrative contract. It's the value. So it's not a contract that so much is the question. It's the for example, if you're a principal and you're an administrative contract and those contracts only exist for a year, you're only obligated for those for a year. But at that contract level, you're getting paid, $90,000. And let's say you're a teacher and on a salary schedule, you go to $50,000. Well, that's $40,000. So, you got a fund balance, and that's why they require you to have a fund balance and all these things, because all those are considerations that Mr. Kennedy and his staff will have to consider going forward.
So can I just ask a follow-up? So if this motion fails, which I hope it doesn't, but if it fails and staff comes up with some, reorganization plan, you're comfortable that with administrators, we could change them into different positions, or different roles and you're comfortable with us not getting sued. I mean, I know anybody can sue us, but
Well,
us prevailing if we were sued.
right. Well, I'm never comfortable about anybody prevailing because I've seen it happen the other way. I've seen I think it was in Spartanburg. I wish we had been talking about this in executive session, but I've seen, I think in one of the Spartanburg districts, that the court determined that this kind of thing was a property interest, and allowed teachers to sue the district for this kind of stuff. I don't remember what the result is. So talking about comfortability, that's not fair for me because I have to depend on Don and those people to know the finances. I don't know what the finances are.
Right. Okay, I got you.
All right, Ms. Waters and then Ms. Coates.
Yes, so I did want to ask as an update whether or not between yesterday and today, y'all got any firmer on how many people would have to be, would make up for the budget shortfall that we have. So if this didn't pass and you had to figure out how to right size, how many people would that potentially be? I know we were talking around 44 yesterday.
So I want to clarify the 44 number. So the first part of your question, no, we don't have any additional information about on the potential numbers of employees. The number of 44 is simply, I asked the finance team to calculate for every $5 million of a cost that had to be reduced. If we were to do that simply by FTE, on the average FTE at this level, how many positions would that be? 44. So that was for planning, but for when staff, Ms. Belton and others start looking at their divisions, give them some parameters to understand what those what might be there. But there are many ways to look at this. Additional revenue potentially would reduce that. If we got additional revenue coming in this year, then it would go into fund balance. So we could potentially, I know Ms. Green has some concerns about using fund balance, and I do too, but we could potentially use more of the fund balance. So there are many components, several components to it, not just the head count.
Can I just make a final comment, Reverend Mac?
Please.
Before we move on. And this is actually just a thank you to those board members who recognized that I had been taking a particular position for the entirety of the night and that I wanted to have my vote accurately reflected. I really appreciate the grace and your willingness to come back today because it does mean a lot for my voice to be reflected appropriately on the record.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Coates.
The only thing that I can't seem to get over, and I would like to give Mr. Kennedy a chance to have that conversation. What has stopped me is two things. One, either this was very hastily put together, or this is very calculated and very hastily presented to us. And I don't want to make a judgment call on either one of those, and particularly don't want to debate that issue. But in that, you have a list of people that I've seen those names for maybe 6 minutes total. And at least two of them, literally this motion takes them into a job they did not have last year. This doesn't right size them out of their interim position. This takes employees who were in interim positions who were not in teaching positions prior to that interim back to a teacher contract. And that, to me, that just seems like we haven't clearly laid out some of the details and understanding of how that is. This motion literally takes that entire list and says, give them teacher contracts or give Don the right to do whatever he wants with their contracts. And I think that's the struggle for me, because then it allows interim positions to become whole positions, possibly without a true and transparent conversation. But at the same time, it takes people who were willing to step up into an interim position and hands them a teacher contract tomorrow based on this vote. My initial question was, could we ask the district to reconsider how this is coming to us? I realize that I won't say how, but the fact of the matter is there has been a sense of urgency imposed upon the board because of the deadline tomorrow. So I do understand the fact that it's probably not feasible to take it back and reconsider. But that is why I struggle with this, is that it either things fell through the cracks or this was on purpose, and we're not being given the appropriate respect and time to just to nuance through all of those questions. If I can think of 2 people in a 6-minute review of this list that is no longer in front of us, I'm not sure there's not 6 other people on that list that may have fallen through those cracks as well. And I appreciate the position you guys are in. I appreciate the work you're trying to do, but that is why I can't seem to get to this is the right move in this manner. Thank you, Reverend Mack, for allowing me to say that.
Yeah.
Reverend Matt, can I clarify what part of what the host asked about, or
Hold on one second.
All right.
sorry to just kind of jump in.
Wait.
Go ahead, Mr. Brigman.
Wait.
Hey.
All right, Reverend Mack, Dr. Fraser saying if she's going down the road and in the event that she loses, she wanted you to know her vote was yes. I mean, she can re-say that if you want.
All right, Mr. Brigman.
Okay, so Mrs. Coates, I want to make sure I understand what you were sharing about an interim. So if a person who is currently in an interim role, those individuals are on this list of 132 people because by contract, they are let's say an executive director or a director or some type of central staff position here in the office. That's what they applied for. That's what they were hired for. But legally, and Dwayne can speak to this if he needs to, I'm sure, they are owed a teacher contract. We have to make a decision. So we're not treating the interims any differently than we are anyone else because that individual was hired for X, just like everybody on that list. So everybody on the list will get the teacher contract for a short period of time. So does that make sense? Because interims are not.
It does. And we're in open session, Bill. And again, I've lived through this with you for a number of years, and I understand the incredibly awkward position that we're putting Mr. Kennedy in to have to kind of be the face of what could be very unhappy situations as we reorganize and right-size the organization. I am totally respectful and appreciative of that. But it doesn't entirely get me to my yes. I apologize.
I just want to make sure the interim piece that you understand.
Mhm.
All right, is there any further questions from any other board members? All right, hearing none, there has been a motion made by Darby, second by Dr. Frazier, I believe it was. All right, now I'm ready to call for the voice vote. Thank you, Maggie. Second by Dr. Frazier. Okay, I got it. I'm not calling for it yet, but I got it. All right, Maggie, you can go ahead and take that down. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So Dr. Frazier voted yes. I've captured that. Ms. Waters, how do you vote?
No.
Ms. Green, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Darby, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Coates, how do you vote?
No.
Ms. Coakley, how do you vote? Ms. Coakley?
No.
Dr. French, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Hederick, how do you vote?
No.
I vote no. That motion is 5-4. That motion fails. All right, board members, thank you for your time that you have exerted on today. We will get through this as we look at budgetary items as we begin to move forward. I entertain a motion for an adjournment.
So moved.
This meeting now is officially adjourned. Everyone have a great day.